we listen to God, when we listen to God's directions for our lives and what we should do and what we shouldn't do, we also live up to the design He had for us. Every now and then, I come across a list of strange and obscure laws from all around the world. In Switzerland, they have strict noise laws between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. Apparently, you can't do loud laundry, mow your lawn, or operate power tools. In some apartment buildings, they've taken this to limit water usage due to loud plumbing, banging pipes, and in some places, apparently, you're not even supposed to flush your toilet at night. In the United Kingdom, there was a law passed in 1986 which states it's illegal to hold a salmon under suspicious circumstances, whatever that means. Now, sometimes I see a list of laws that are strange but that are closer to home. Until June of 2017, it was illegal under the Criminal Code of Canada to challenge someone to a duel or to accept an invitation to a duel. I guess that on Prince Edward Island, they must have had issues with ding-dong ditching, because in Charlottetown, it's illegal to intentionally ring a doorbell or knock on the door to disrupt, disturb, or annoy the person in their home or place of work. And in Ontario, you can be seriously fined if you splash a pedestrian with water or with slush. Now, laws like these are written for a reason. Sometimes these are easy to make sense of. Noise laws, laws to protect pedestrians, and anti-harassment laws like the doorbell one in PEI. Others make less sense to us, like what's up with the fish in the UK? Now, as it turns out, the Salmon Act was meant to cut down on illegal fishing. It just sounds kind of weird. And I would imagine that if we look at even the most obscure or random laws, we could find the rationale that inspired governments to require and ban all sorts of things. Now, we might feel a similar sense of confusion when we first look at our religion's most famous laws, the Ten Commandments. These commandments were given to Israel through Moses, and we read about them in Exodus 20 or Deuteronomy 5. Sometimes you'll hear them referred to as the Decalogue, which is Greek for 10 words. Now, the commandments are unique because they are inscribed. They are written by the hand of God Himself on tablets, which He gives to Moses. No other instruction in the Old Testament is given in this way. And even Jesus Himself only ever wrote in the sand. Now, like some of our own laws, some of the commandments, these are easy to make sense of. The laws about false witness, lying, stealing, adultery, and murder, well, these fit under the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. None of us wants to be lied to, stolen from, cheated on, or killed. In some ways, you could probably even say we shouldn't need rules about that stuff. But because people still do these things and hurt others in the process, it makes sense that God would give them to us as commandments. Now, the commandments about honoring our parents or resisting lust, don't covet your neighbor's wife, and jealousy, don't covet your neighbor's goods, these are more challenging. Doesn't everyone argue with their parents? And unlike some of the other commandments which are kept or broken by our words and our actions, lust and envy happen in our heads and hearts. Why would this matter if it doesn't hurt anyone? Well, not only could you say that something like lust can lead to adultery or jealousy can lead to stealing or to murder, there's also a question of integrity. God's goal for us is to make us holy and to make us healthy. And a heart that is consumed by what I don't have, or that doesn't see the whole of a person but only their parts, is falling short of that part of God's design for us. And the first three laws, these are foundational. To have no other gods, not to take God's name in vain, and to keep holy the Sabbath day. These all deal with our relationship with God. And trying to stay faithful to each of these gives us the ability to strengthen that relationship in clear and concrete steps. Keeping the Sabbath means we're actively making space for God, at a bare minimum, by going to church on Sunday. Not having other gods or cursing His name means we're recognizing the first most important thing. There is a God. It isn't me, and He deserves my love and worship before anything else does. Ultimately, there are two ways to look at these commandments. You could look at them as a list of rules and regulations, perhaps as strange and out of date as the ones mentioned at the start of the video. Or you could see them as a starting point, as a minimum explanation for the ways in which our Creator wants us to live and to treat one another. And ultimately, we give that sort of authority in our lives to all sorts of companies. Car companies, phone companies, even how we build Lego or IKEA furniture. All of these things work better when we do what the manufacturer tells us to do. And so do we. when we listen to God, when we listen to God's directions for our lives of what we should do and what we shouldn't do, we also live up to the design He had for us. Ultimately, what's happening is we're being invited to put God first, not to swear using His name, to honor the Sabbath. We're being invited to honor our parents, not to lie, steal, cheat, murder, or covet others or their goods, their things. In other words, we're being invited to love God, to put God first, to love others, to put them second, and to put ourselves third.